Well, I guess it's new year. If you're watching this, you made it. You made it. You're on this side of the dirt nap. And for most of us, that's a good thing. If you're down and depressed during the holidays and you're not feeling like you want to be here tomorrow, no, man, you should be here tomorrow. Get you some help. Talk to somebody. You are important. You are in this side of the dirt map. This side of the dirt nap. You are still alive. There's hope for you. Somebody cares for you. Somebody wants you to keep on keeping on. We have made it to another year. We are blessed. There are so many people who aren't here with us today. But you are here. You have the opportunity, the availability, the chance to do something better than you did yesterday, greater than you did last year. You can take your destiny into your own hands, and you can become whatever you want. You know why? Because you're still here. You're still here. We're all still here. And if you guys saw me last Friday, you guys, you saw me really get kind of sick here. Hey, there's this preacher called T.D. Jakes, Bishop Jakes. And I guess about a week or so ago, he had very similar to the thing that happened to me, happen to him while he was live. He's preaching, he's sitting there with his microphone, and the old boy just goes, that's kind of what happened to me a little bit. And I was scared. I was scared. I was like, you guys saw that video. I was like, oh shit. Because the things that was happening to me had never happened before in my entire 61 years. My body never felt like that before. And I thought, you're out of here, bro. Live on international video. You're getting ready to be the hell up out of here. And within seconds, you guys were calling me and stuff. Hey, man, get to the hospital. And like a fool, I drove myself. Never do that again. But here I am. And there's nothing like when you go to the hospital and you figure, okay, they'll give me some IV, some fluids, couple pills and send me home. And they say, your black ass ain't going home. That's when your heart goes thump, thump. That's when you get another whole thump, thump. And you're like, oh, hell. And they say, you're going to be here at least 2 or 3 days. It's terrifying. But I'm still here. I'm still with you all. And I'm so blessed to be here. And you are so blessed to be here today. If you're contemplating suicide, if you got some bad stuff going on, if you had relatives pass away, whatever the case may have happened, you're still here. You're still important. This is a new year. And we're going to go forward in this new year and do great things. We're going to go forward in this new year. We're going to keep on getting skinny. We're going to keep on getting healthy. We're going to keep on monitoring our blood sugar. We're going to keep on monitoring our blood pressure. We're going to work out. We're going to eat better. It all starts again right now. So happy New Year to you all. We got our show coming up. It's called What Happens When the Club Splits. Been talking about this a lot in this last year. And I've seen a lot of this, and we're going to talk about the things that make club splits. Jackson Pope, I love your President's Bible. Thank you, man. Thank you for buying it and reading it, and thank you for that wonderful compliment. Wait till you read Motorcycle Club Protocol 101. Which you can get from blackdragonsgear.com. But anyway, we're gonna jump into this this conversation for the new year. We don't have any news, any biker news of nobody's done anything bad that we know of, or that we've even heard of. So we're starting the new year with a blank slate, and we're going to be doing a hell of a lot more MC protocol videos this year. We're even going to probably get back to the walking videos since people have been asking for that for a few years. And obviously, my black ass needs to walk. In a minute and 7 seconds, we'll be right back with When the Motorcycle Club Splits with myself and your co-host, Lavish T. Williams.
Black Dragon Biker News. He's on YouTube. Black Dragon Biker News. Get yourself educated by his books and you'll learn how to move. Black Dragon Biker News. He covers it all. So click on the screen, hit subscribe to get updated Biker News with MC Protocol. A lot of phonies popped up when this YouTube Biker News craze came about, but the man on this channel is the first to do it and the only one that never sold out. His name's Black Dragon. Started the day of the intensity, revving Uncle Sam. They traded that uniform for the best from the mighty Black Sabbath. Not the band, I'm talking about the mighty Black Sabbath. MC, we're paid his dues and he earned his stripes. From prospect all the way up to national peace. All the copycat creators and the content stealers and haters, there have been many, but there's only one larger than life. Black Biker with a cowboy hat, the nose come through and says kicks game. Black Dragon Biker News. He's on YouTube. Black Dragon Biker News. Yourself educated by his books and you'll learn how to move. Black Dragon Biker News. He covers it all. So click on the screen, hit subscribe and get updated Biker News with MC Protocol.
It's a beautiful day in the new year. It's such a beautiful day in the new year. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Such a get back!
It's too early for all that, man. It's too early for all that.
That's because you were up all night.
Yes. I was up. I was up. Happy New Year to everybody out
Thank
there,
you.
man.
Yeah,
Hope y'all enjoyed y'all New Year's Eve. Y'all brought it in great. If you're watching this podcast, that means that you made it. You're live. Yeah. So
we made it.
that's pretty good. I want to say this because I'm gonna actually jump off of here shortly and go mobile, because the work of a tow truck driver's work is never done, and now I have to go get those responsible drivers who left their cars.
Truck rams crowd and 10 people are dead.
Oh wow! Now this didn't happen in New Orleans, did it?
I think that's what they're talking about.
I'm just saying, I seen something that happened. I'm not sure if it was that or not. They said something, but they mentioned, terrorist attack. I'm not sure if this is the same thing. I didn't look into it because I'm just really starting to move around.
Car plows into a crowd on Bourbon Street. Oh my God. At least 10 people are dead.
Oh wow, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Oh my goodness. Let's look at this real quick here. The audience is telling me about this. I don't know anything about it. Let's see here. What do we got?
In New Orleans that killed at least 10 people and injured many more. people and injured many more. He talked about the fact that his heart is broken, but he also gave an update on the resources that are being applied to the situation. Not only is the FBI there, I can now confirm ATF is on the scene as well. And also, interestingly, he pointed out in the statement that the National Security Division of the Justice Department has been activated on this incident. That tells you a lot right there. This is not being treated at all as some sort of random event. This is being treated as having the potential of terrorism, be it tied to international, domestic, or otherwise. Again, all the resources of the federal government now aimed at determining who exactly the suspect is, who he has ties to, what are his connections, to try to come up with a firm statement and answer that they can give to the nation. They know that in a couple of hours, the country is going to want answers as to what is behind us and whether this threat is centralized and local to New Orleans, or whether they need to do more nationwide.
And I want to bring that point to retired FBI agent and ABC News contributor Richard Frankel, because Richard, how do they go about answering those questions now, particularly with the suspect dead?
So they're going to be going through everything in the suspect's life. They're going to be
When
going
the hell
back,
did this happen?
To everything that he has done, everyone he has touched, everyone he's communicated with, social media, where he works. They're going to be looking at every single piece of this person's life and seeing if this is an inspired event. In other words, was he
This had to be New Year's
being
Eve.
inspired by one of the terrorist groups overseas? Was he just doing this on his own for another reason? Was he working with others? Was he helped in making the IEDs, or at least being directed in how to make the IEDs? We have seen that in the past.
Oh my God!
Where
It happened one block from the
people
park.
in the U.S. have built the IEDs, but they've been directed from overseas on how to do that. So they're going to be looking at all of that, and they're going to be looking forward because they want to see if anyone that this individual has been dealing with may also be inspired or be part of this conspiracy and want to do a further act, whether it be at one of the football events or any other event in that area or throughout the United States.
Oh my God.
And I want to bring in ABC News contributor, former NYPD Chief of Detectives, Robert Boyce, as well. Robert, you worked for many years to secure Times Square on New Year's Eve. I think of the security in New York and how deep it goes, blocks and blocks and blocks.
Wow.
What's your reaction to something like this happening in a place like Bourbon Street, New Orleans, on New Year's Eve? And what do you think law enforcement has to do now?
Well, I think, Diane, look at exactly what time it happened, 3:15. That's after, significantly after midnight. So things seem to load, the threat level seems to decrease somewhat. Now, the next night you have a big, you have a big night on the Sugar Bowl. So were resources sent home? That has to be looked at as well, just to get them ready for the following night. So these things will be looked at, but in the immediacy is to identify this bad actor, find out who he is,
right,
and what his motivation was. And the big thing now is look at what you do have as an investigator. You have the car. Can you trace that back? You have the gun. Can you trace that back? Does he have a phone on him? We have fingerprint devices that we mobile.
And there was a shootout afterwards.
If he's on file anywhere, to find out who this person is, and then to go back and make the determination. But for right now, it's considered a terrorist attack. And if you look at the whole community of terrorism, you'll see that there's been a lot of activity in Europe over the past year. So you look at these things and you say, okay, this happened here now. Where is this individual? Was he radicalized online? Is he a lone wolf? Or is he bigger part of a bigger conspiracy? These things are important because there's decisions to be made today, whether they're going to go forward with that game. And I agree with the mayor. I think they are going to go forward with the game right now. We did the same thing in New York. And on Halloween in 2017, there was a Halloween parade just blocks away from a terrorist attack, and the parade went on. So these things are all being determined right now at very high levels.
Gun
right now,
to
everybody's involved.
kill a whole bunch of people
and
anymore,
see
huh?
resources from around the state troopers and other police departments coming in to aid the New Orleans Police Department as they go forward into the day.
And Pierre, one of the sources of the investigation now is these devices, right? The FBI say they found what appeared to be devices. They say at least one was viable. What's the latest on that, and how
Police
much does
officers
that
after
pose a
jumping out of the
current threat?
vehicle. Oh my God!
Well, that is the ongoing concern. Are there more devices? You don't want
I didn't
members
watch
of
the
the
news
public or
this
anyone else
morning.
stumbling around and finding anything else that's this dangerous. The other thing is that the gun used in the attack against the police, and we'll note from the AG's statement that a couple of officers were injured in the exchange with the suspect. Again, my sources say clearly the suspect had time, had put some thought into what he was going to do, both in terms of having the gun and the improvised explosive devices. Also, the fact that he determined that he would use
I
the
know
vehicle
a
as
lot
a
of
method to
people
kill as many
who
people
stay
as
their
quickly as
ass home on
possible.
New Year's Eve.
Again, sources emphasize that this was such a cold-blooded, intentional act that they've got to get as much information as possible, as soon as possible, to determine whether this person had any kind of regional support, local support, to make sure that, again, that this is a contained incident. That is the most important thing right now, to make sure that this is localized and there's no one else out there with follow-on attacks coming. We don't have any information to that effect, but my sources are saying that is the key point of emphasis right now.
A suspect who was hell-bent on killing as many people as possible drove a pickup truck around barricades and plowed his vehicle through a crowd of New Year's revelers on Bourbon Street in New Orleans at a high rate of speed, leaving at least 10 people dead and injuring dozens of others early Wednesday, I guess 3 a.m., city and federal officials said, after mowing down numerous people over a 3-block stretch on the famed thoroughfare while firing shots, oh my God, into the crowd. The suspect allegedly got out of the truck wielding an assault rifle and opened fire on police officers. Law enforcement officials briefed on the incident told ABC News. Officers returned fire, killing the suspect, who was not immediately identified. Sources said at least two police officers were shot and wounded, authorities said. Explosive devices found in and around the scene on Bourbon Street were apparently found to be viable. Multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News, Jesus, it's a good thing those things didn't go off. It would have killed even more people. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell described the horrific incident as a terrorist attack, and the FBI is said to be investigating, as we just heard, it as an act of terror. The bloodshed comes on the heels of a deadly vehicle ramming attack in Germany, which one of you guys just talked about, this ramming attack that happened not even a couple of weeks ago, was it? On the heels of a deadly ramming attack in Germany, fears of such attacks were a growing concern among law enforcement, as well as attacks by lone actors at winter holiday events. Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick said the driver had attempted to kill as many people as possible. The truck he used appeared to be an F-150 Lightning, an electric vehicle. A black flag appeared to be attached to the vehicle, but its significance is not immediately known. By the time the melee was described, which was described by city officials as a mass casualty event, had ended, at least 35 people were injured. New Orleans police and city officials said most of the victims appeared to be local officials. Officials said, officials said he was hell-bent on creating the carnage that he did create, Kirkpatrick said at the news conference. Now, it looks like this was right up the street from where we did the proc in New Orleans a couple years ago. And, it's been there a few times. I think the same place each time. And we were talking about the proc yesterday. And this was just right up the street. Of course, the proc was the first time I've ever been to New Orleans, but I have now been up and down Bourbon Street. And, as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, this could be me and Tia walking down there. He was hell-bent on doing what he did. New Orleans Police Department said the attack occurred despite the force being staffed 100%. So they had every one of their police officers working, every damn police officer in New Orleans City. They were 100% staffed for New Year's Eve. Nobody got New Year's Eve off. Every officer was working live and at the New Year's Eve and the Sugar Bowl, a college football game played annually on New Year's Day. An additional 300 officers were on duty from partner agencies, the police department said. So they had every one of their people plus an extra 300, and he was still able to.
Hey, Black Dragon, hold on real quick, man. I'm about to go ahead and switch over to the mobile device. So give me about 5 or 10 minutes. I got to get in my truck.
All right, brother.
All right.
President Joe Biden has been briefed on the attack and has been in touch with Cantrell to offer support, the mayor, according to the White House. The FBI already on the ground supporting local law enforcement in the investigation, and the president will continue to be briefed throughout the day, the White House said in a statement. Local authorities asked the FBI for assistance early on Wednesday. A senior federal law enforcement source told ABC News a command center was being set up. The source said the FBI was set to lead the investigation. A horrific act of violence took place on Bourbon Street earlier this morning, Governor Jeffrey Landry said, adding that his family was praying for the victims and the first responders as well. Here's a picture of Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street can be wall-to-wall, people. Body count could have been far higher. Yeah, I've seen videos throughout my life of how many people can actually be on Bourbon Street. Trump telling the world that it was Iran trying to kill him. What? I don't think. Okay, well, I don't think Trump said that. I don't know. What up, though? Big Lock. Yes, I remember that mostly peaceful but fiery protests. This is probably what it looks like. A single nut job. Black flag like ISIL. Yeah, ISIL did have a black flag, if I remember right. Soon the government will be fitting all motorized vehicles with disabling devices. If that hasn't already happened, right? Because all of the new cars today can be hacked and all kinds of stuff. What's up, Joseph? This is crazy. That's a picture. A witness who requested to be identified only as Paul S. told ABC News he was startled awake by the sound of what he initially thought was fireworks. Around 3:15 a.m., we heard a pop, 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 pop sound followed by a sound that sounded like fireworks going off. Like big fireworks all at once, Paul said. Then it turned out there was a crash. He said he looked outside the hotel window and he saw a chaotic scene with bodies strewn on the street below. Man, that is absolutely crazy. What I was, if you can imagine a street with brick and whatnot littered all around the sidewalk, and then there were bodies laid up next to the garbage cans and people rushing to give aid, Paul S. said. He said he observed a man who had been thrown from his wheelchair lying on the ground next to the truck involved in the attacking. This man was writhing in pain. There was also a body underneath a scissor lift, Paul S. said. Leading up to the holidays, federal law enforcement intelligence had warned police around the country that low-tech vehicle ramming was a key area of concern and that they needed to be prepared for this. And that was before the German Christmas market attack. So they've been expecting this for a while. And the German Christmas market attack was on December 20th. It killed 5 people and hundreds were injured. In a December 9th assessment of the Times Square of the Times Square New Year's Eve celebration, federal and local agencies wrote, "We remain concerned about the use of vehicle ramming against high-profile outdoor events. Vehicle ramming has become a recurring tactic employed by threat actors in the West." So this is what you need to know. And it's probably time for me to reenact my YouTube page, Think Tactical. It's probably time for me to reenact that page, Think Tactical. Because if you're going to be, here's my YouTube page. You guys remember this. I wanted to do 2 YouTube pages, and for a while there was this Think Tactical, and maybe I'll reenact this page, because in my Think Tactical page, I wanted to cover, prepper kind of lifestyle and thinking and being and doing tactical things like bug out bags, and all kinds of ideas of how to be tactical while you're out there. And so here's some of the videos that we did on Think Tactical. I kind of dropped this page off, and I think I might pick it back up again, because when you're thinking about being tactical in a place like that, so okay, you want to go out and enjoy the festivities on Bourbon Street. So what do you got to be thinking about? You got to be thinking about, okay, so we know cars are going to be used for ramming and stuff like that. So when you're out there in those streets, look to put yourself in an area that might have stanchions or big kinds of columns or something by which you can hide behind. Hey, thanks for becoming a member of my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Warren McLaren. We appreciate you, man. And man, we really hope you enjoy the channel. Thank you for becoming a member. And I'd encourage a lot more of you guys to become members. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps to support the channel. So thank you, Warren McLaren. We really appreciate you. This is what you got to be thinking about. If you're going to be thinking tactical, you got to be thinking about how to put yourself, like that one thing where those guys were in Las Vegas and this guy's shooting down out of a hotel room 50 stories up. So you can't ever think about something like that until after it happens. But if it happened and you weren't there, the next time you're in an event like that, you got to think about, okay, I certainly don't want to be in the open air part where somebody could shoot down on top of me. I mean, you got to, it's like riding a motorcycle. Everything is pre-planning. Everything you do, you must pre-plan. So the police department wrote, we remain concerned about let's see, how do I get back to that? There we go. We remain concerned about the use of vehicle ramming against high-profile outdoor events. Vehicle ramming has become a recurring tactic employed by threat actors in the West, marked by a continued interest by terrorist extremists and lone offenders, lone wolves, in targeting crowded pedestrian areas. So you got to figure out, if you're going to be in a crowded pedestrian area, how not to be a crowded pedestrian. How to be on the fringe, somewhere where they can't easily get to you. Such a disheartening start to the new year. Absolutely. I told you guys you were so lucky to be on this side of the dirt nap. There are 30 injured patients that have been transported by New Orleans EMS services, and 10 fatalities, the city said. The police later said at least 35 people were injured and taken to 5 local hospitals: University Medical Center, Truro Hospital, East Jefferson General Hospital, Ochsner Medical Center, Jefferson Campus, and Ochsner Baptist Campus. That goes to show you that no hospital is prepared to take 35 people at like one time, 35 critically, like what hospital emergency room has 35 surgeons in it? It only takes a small thing to overwhelm. You might have one surgeon or 2 on call or upstairs asleep or something. You got an emergency room doctor, maybe one emergency room doctor and 3 or 4 residents or something. Hospitals aren't set up like this, that 35 people can come walking in the door. Now, Grady Hospital in downtown Atlanta might be able to handle something like that. It's a trauma center, and it doesn't matter who you are, rich or poor. If you have a trauma, brain injury, gunshot, whatever you got, they're going to take you to Grady first. They say Grady can save you. And then they say, I've heard it said, you want to get out of Grady, you want to get out of Grady after you've been saved. So Grady can save you, but you can also die there once you get to the other side where they got to take care of you. This is what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not. But Grady is a hospital here where they definitely can save you. They might be able to take 35 people, but most cities don't have a hospital that can.
Was the firearm obtained? And I'm also being told that coming on the heels of what took place in Germany, the Christmas vehicle attack in Germany, and now this vehicle attack in New Orleans, that there will be enormous pressure on law enforcement throughout the country for large-scale events where large numbers of people are on the street. You'll remember, Diane, that we have the inauguration coming up in just a few weeks. And again, given that former President Trump had 2 assassination attempts on his life in recent months, the amount of
I wonder what that's going to be like. What kind of security are they going to have at the inauguration? It shouldn't be hard. Enough companies have donated to the cause. They should probably have the best security available in the world.
That the federal government, again, will be under pressure, number 1, to brief on this incident as soon as possible, and number 2, to give local law enforcement officials around the country a sense of what they need to do, if anything, to enhance security and at least to make the public more aware if you see something, to say something. That's the message I'm getting from sources this morning.
And I want to go back to former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce for a little bit more on that process. Robert, how complicated is an investigation like this when you have this multi-pronged approach to this attack, as Aaron laid out, and now trying to figure out who this suspect is and more about him?
Well, Diane, there's a very good chance they have a tentative subject already. And that's from multiple abilities, investigative-wise. The car, where did it come from? Who rented it, if it's rented? F-150 truck in an urban environment, it's a little unusual. At least it certainly is in New York. So you look at these things, where'd that come from? The gun he had, the serial number, the ATF, with their databases available to them immediately, all right? If he had a cell phone. And you could also a mobile print device. You can, if he's on file, you can pick that up on that as well. So there's a lot going into this right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they have something tangible right now to run with. If you remember the 1993 World Trade Center attack, that was made from that identification was aided by a bin number recovered at the scene, and they went to the rental place and they already were up on that. So these things are happening in real time right now. There's a big investigation once you identify your subject, and then you know so much more than you did.
This is crazy. Foxy correctly noted that shooting took place in Vegas at Mandalay Bay Casino. It was crazy. Unfortunately, says War Gorilla, you have to always prepare for the worst and always think of the most horrible things that can happen by keeping your sensors on alert. Now,
what do you think of this happening, but hearing that eyewitness Jimmy detail how it looked from his vantage point and his complaints that the substantial barricades that New Orleans has available, he says, we're not up.
Yeah, I'm extremely concerned if those barricades.
And there's always this Monday morning quarterbacking.
The leaders of New Orleans are going to have to consider as to whether there ought to be a time, maybe 2 a.m. when the French Quarter should shut down. Because by the time 3 a.m. comes, the crowds begin to dissipate. But the reputation is you party till the sun comes up. But when you're trying to ensure the safety of people, and Mardi Gras is different. Mardi Gras, the French Quarter closes at midnight or 1 o'clock traditionally. so that cleanup can begin. I think they're going to have to rethink the entire plan around the French Quarter as quickly as possible. Certainly,
I thought Mardi Gras was open until broad daylight. I didn't know it closed down at 12.
Sections of the quarter to people, except for ingress and egress to hotels. So some modifications are going to have to be made. But certainly, I think the investigation has to focus on why those barriers were down. It's 3:15 a.m. The nights are closing. Some bars have closed by then. All have not, because there's no mandatory bar closing time in New Orleans. So there's got to be a lot more. But I think.
Okay, so that's what we do. We shut the city down because we're so afraid to go outside. We just shut the whole effing city down. We all got to go in at 10 o'clock at night because a big bad terrorist might get us. They won't say the real thing to do. They won't say what the real thing to do. The real thing to do is that they arm us all. You don't see this happening in Israel. They figured out how to put a stop to this. You ever see them Israel videos? They got folks walking around. Everybody's loaded, bro. Everybody's loaded. I wish you would show your ass. Always plan an egress and know where the exits are and a rally point when and if your group is separated so you can meet up, etc. I.e. the McDonald's gas station, pre-selected spots. It's a tough thing out there. The U.S. taking rights from citizens to protect themselves. Sheeple become sitting ducks. Yeah. I get you. I believe you on that. This is crazy.
Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas, because Pierre, in the image that you see of the back of the truck that rammed this crowd on Bourbon Street, there appears to be a flagpole on the back. What are investigators saying about that?
Well, they're looking at that. Obviously, that black symbol can be used as a symbol for ISIS. It can be. And we're being told that they're at least looking at the possibility of whether this individual, the dead suspect, has any ties to ISIS. They're also looking at the possibility that this person may have recently entered the country. Again, all to be determined. It's a fluid situation early in the investigation. They're hoping to have some answers to that. Also, to give you a sense of the concern, I'm checking with some of my sources in major police departments around the country, and I can tell you they're looking for information about this.
Black Dragon, I'm glad you're doing better, bro. You were actually reading my comment when all hell broke loose. I was really curious to hear your insight on it, as well as a light job at Vice President Lavish. I tell you what, send me the comment again. I don't remember what it was. The fear-mongering government gonna use this to nullify citizens' rights. Yeah, like hanging out all night. We can't do that anymore. Somebody might drive through here. Put the effing barricades up. Obviously, the barricades weren't up, I hear just now. Trust me, after what happened here in Vegas at Route 91 concert, you can't count these types of situations out of your mind. No. Oh, yeah, really, you were there. You were there in that city when that happened. Yeah. Is C on? Hey, what's up, C? Happy New Year, man. What's up? Big Lock Joker, man. You're on one today. Are you on one, bro? Big Lock Joker's on one. This is crazy.
Tell us about that part.
Good morning.
See how narrow the streets are?
The public's no longer in danger because people assume that once the shooting stops that everything is over. But as we've seen in cases around the United States in the past, sometimes you have complex attacks where people will use a combination of some sort of a kinetic weapon, a firearm or a vehicle, and they also use explosives.
A wise man once said.
So they're going to be really taking their time to go through the scene methodically and see if there's anything else that could harm people. And then they're going to want to forensically exploit whatever's left behind. They're going to look into the explosive devices through my old office at the terrorist.
I knew what you meant, man. I know what a draconian is. I know that. Being a dragon, of course, I knew that. But they might not know. I knew.
Behind to see if that sort of tradecraft has been used before, so they can kind of get a clue as to where this person may have learned how to make the devices.
And Scott, you're saying priority number one is ensuring that the public is not in danger now. We are now hearing that they are evacuating hotels in the area. And I want to bring in Jason Williams, the district attorney who represents the parish where this attack happened. Jason, I know it's a busy time, so we appreciate you coming on. What can you tell us at this point? What's the latest here?
So the evacuation of the hotels was earlier today.
They evacuated hotels?
Largely due to finding that potential explosive device. Individuals were not allowed to go back into hotels, which meant, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're just sort of stuck on the outside of crime scene tape with when everything else has been closed and shut down. It's an active crime scene. It's a blocks long crime scene. A number of the deceased are still there. It's a very difficult moment, and as your expert just said, our first responders are methodically sort of working a grid to make sure that there is not potential for further harm.
So, Jason, where does this go now? How do you ensure that there is not that potential, not only for this, but also the Sugar Bowl happening later today, the Super Bowl coming up?
Are they going to play the Sugar Bowl today, or are they going to not play? I guess they don't have any choice.
Lots of big events headed to New Orleans. Always a number of large events coming to the city.
Well, why aren't they talking about the shooter himself? Do we know anything about the shooter?
But we host.
Anybody know anything about the shooter?
On a regular basis, and we have a strong strategy. And I want to be very clear about the first responders, state police, NOPD.
Looks like I'm gonna have to go back and change the title of this show to something else, because we're not talking about what meant to talk about.
More injury with their quick work. But
we know the shooter's dead, but who was he? What does he look like? What race is he? Where does he come from? Why are they thinking that he might be isolated?
Alone, if anyone else knew, if he left any other devices to try to harm more people, and it's all still raw and still too fluid to have all of those answers at this point. But the FBI has taken over the investigation. They're running the lead on it, and that is what they're working on now with our other partners.
And Jason, I want to bring in our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katurski, who's also following this investigation very closely.
Jason, I know you mentioned that one of the questions is whether the suspect was acting alone. Have you any additional information about a possible second suspect?
Too soon to say. Right now, there was one suspect. But obviously, with any investigation, you got to pull on every thread to find out what else is there and see what comes. And so our agencies are looking into any and everything now. But
oh my God, do you guys see this?
And in terms of other potential devices, we know at least one, maybe two were determined to be viable. Any update on numbers of potential devices and how that grid search is going?
So all I can tell you right now is there are officers.
You guys are checking this.
Checking.
Sorry about that. Let me put this on.
Plates, looking for unattended bags or containers, checking trash cans, just to make sure the public is safe, just to make sure that more explosive devices weren't left sooner.
Watch this.
Prior to this incident.
This is, I just pulled it up. Walking past dead bodies on New Orleans eyewitness attack. Describe the tragic event.
Bourbon Street. Jason, what are you seeing there now?
Hey, Diane, thanks so much. The corner of Royal and Canal is where we are. And yes, it is a block away from Bourbon Street, but it is a
my God, it's crazy
out here this morning as many of these fans from the two universities that are here for the Sugar Bowl, as well as people that are staying downtown, enjoying some of their time here in the city of New Orleans. And if you take a look, yeah, folks are starting to get up and move around and all that. But that is a contrast to what is a major crime scene. Coroner's wagon from the Orleans Parish coroner's office still out here over my shoulder to the right. Still many law enforcement vehicles out here as well. And yes, law enforcement officers walking through the French Quarter, largely shut down French Quarter, certainly Royal Street from Canal, I would say 6 or 7 blocks down, and the same on Bourbon Street, about a good 6 or 7 blocks down that they have shut off, which is where the center of that crime scene took effect, being called a terrorist attack by everyone involved now. There was a bit of a conflict earlier.
Oh yeah.
With the mayor and the FBI assistant.
That was kind of crazy. Midwest Prince, because I definitely against that.
They're considering this. It is being investigated that way.
They aren't talking about the shooter, no name, race, etc. If they don't talk about race for the next 24 hours or so, then the odds are high it wasn't a white dude.
And I want to go back to Jason William, the district attorney there for the parish where this attack happened.
If they don't show him, it's because he is white.
The FBI are both now investigating
No,
this.
it can't be both. If they don't show the race,
on that front,
it's because he's white.
The possibility that
wasn't white.
was a larger
but
operation.
if they don't show him, it's because he is white. It can't be both. See, Ruger says, hit that like button. I wish you guys would. Those fools in Oklahoma got that big rider to go, but that's a lot of fertilizer to get.
How large or who may or may not have been involved. Obviously,
the founders of the state
was neutralized by law enforcement very, very quickly. Thank God.
Definition of curfew means to cover fire.
Those are the things that they're
Fire
actively looking into now, and hopefully we'll have answers sooner rather than later. But I've got to be circumspect with and not speculate as to anything else right now. But this is terror, whether it is domestic or otherwise. Driving a vehicle, trying to hurt and kill as many people as you can in a short period of time, and then opening fire on officers who were present is terror, no matter how you look at it, no matter where it was born.
Yeah, I agree with you. All members should have a copy of the bylaws and Constitution and better know it inside and out. I don't want to hear it from my sponsor or any of that. Yeah, you know what? My producer Goose says in the background, I should call Black and see if they were down there. Yeah, I should call Black and see if they were down there. You know, when you live in New Orleans, though, you don't go down there, do you? Isn't that just for tourists? Let me call him and see if he was there.
About the vehicle,
when it was acquired,
who paid for it.
I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Black, call me. This is Dragon. Call me. I want to ask you about New Orleans last night. Call me now because I'm live on the show.
Thank you, guys. And I want to go back to our Chief Justice Correspondent, Pierre Thomas, with some new information. Pierre, I understand you're learning some more about the identity of the suspect here.
Yes, Diane. We're being told by sources, a very senior source, that authorities have a name that they're working with.
If he was white, we would know by now. It says DJD.
So they're being very
I think if he was black, we'd know by now.
Have identified the exact specific person because that's.
Sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled programming. I like that.
You need to determine motive and why this attack happened, when it did, and also affiliations and associations.
I always hate it, though. I don't know if white people feel the same, but I always hate it
in the case that there is a
when there's like a black guy. I just feel like, damn.
That they have identified
white people feel the same?
Person,
like,
that they can do all kinds of computer checks on.
He's from the trailer park.
That kind of work is being done as we speak.
White people feel the same.
To have something firm on that in the coming hours, but they have a name that they're working on as the person who could be involved in this incident.
And Aaron, we heard former Mayor Mark Morial saying that they need to go forward with the Sugar Bowl, that terror aims to instoke fear and change behaviors. There are conversations, though, right now with that in discussion, saying maybe they shouldn't go forward. What's the latest on that?
I think it is going to go forward. They've had the discussions. They've
Yeah,
been able to determine
I think they probably
that
would be
the
thinking about
game
shutting
can
down
be
the Sugar
played
Bowl.
as scheduled with the assistance of law enforcement officers from other neighboring agencies to help with the security. Undoubtedly,
How
there will
much
be more
money would they lose?
security for spectators who are planning to go to the Sugar Bowl. What they
How
are going
much
to
money
cancel, it
would
seems,
they
some of
lose?
maybe the smaller events, smaller parties that would ordinarily be associated with an event like the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. There's often sponsorship parties and that kind of thing. Some of those may end up being canceled, but the game itself, we're told, is going to go on with assistance from other agencies.
And in terms of the questions about how this happened, the barriers, were they up? Were they not?
Man,
There's a real question as
this
to
is
whether
really
the
crazy.
barriers that were supposed to be in place were actually in place. There's local reporting that the barriers were in the process of being replaced when this occurred to something maybe more permanent or substantial. You heard the police superintendent say the truck was able to veer around the barriers that were there. But we've also heard from eyewitnesses that nothing was really in place. Now, at that hour, did they come down? Was the security as robust? Did they feel
Obi Joe says 100%, even if they're not trying to be political, learning the bylaws helps to keep you out of future trouble with your club. Rather, you're the most, whether you're the most hated or not, with the exception of Black Dragon, of course. My situation was not in not knowing the bylaws. It was in the fact that the national president decided that he had enough power to go around the bylaws. And I have taken about 4 months, maybe, to sit around and figure out what I was going to do about it, which I thought I would stay in prayer and wait for the beginning of the new year to make my determinations and my announcements as to what I was going to do about it. I was also been waiting on the good men. You know, bad men can do horrible things when good men sit around and do nothing. And so I was waiting for the good men of the Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club to come out and say, we demand that you give this man a fair trial. You said he refuses to stand for a trial, blah, blah, blah. The man is on national video saying, I didn't get my trial. Where's my trial? I've gotten no trial. Where's my trial? No trial. And so I was hoping that some people in the club would demand, and to my disappointment, many of those people just quit. What they did was they quit. Whole chapters quit. And it was crazy because the club let those chapters go rather than deal with Black Dragon fairly. And the national president let his own chapter go. The Macon chapter. He's got no chapter in Macon that he can ride with. He put some colors on in Georgia. He's gonna, it won't go well for him. And that doesn't have anything to do with me. So what he does is he puts his colors on and goes to other cities, walking around in your clubhouse with his unblessed colors. The Georgia councils have put an X. There's no Black Sabbath in Georgia. So with this guy walking around in your clubhouse in New Orleans, Kansas, you should call him on it. Hey, what are you doing here? You know your colors are not blessed. It's a stain on the whole MC culture when you don't follow MC protocol. But yeah, that's what's going on with that. The news buys into racial profiling if they indicate color. That's not what our society is indoctrinated to do. Profiling is evil. I'm a brother. And if you say Muslim extremists, I ain't mad, says Moji. Another addict fool lost his mind. Warland, or a basement fool. Locals go down there for New Year's Eve events. Disgusting that they still market and promote this game after an attack on an American citizen. On American citizens, they don't give an F as long as they make their money. Yeah, is that commercial? Is that what we call what do we call ourselves? Not commercialists, but I forget the word. Come on, help me. Sugar Bowl will move forward. I guess it will. Once upon a time, the law of the land was that all citizens armed themselves. It's a God-given right. You know that we have a city here in Georgia called Kennesaw, where it is illegal not to own a gun. The head of house must have a gun. Did you know that? All it takes is for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Thank you. That was the quote I was looking for. And standing back and seeing what's going on with clubs, it appears to me bylaws have become more of a suggestion than a hard rule. Well, that's because people allow the slippage of the bylaws, and we were going to talk about that today. Black Dragon, I love your passion for your club. Most people would have quickly went to a new club without hesitation, the way clubs are giving away rags right now. Well, you got to understand, I've worn these colors or some variant of them in terms of, from a prospect forward. I've been with this motorcycle club since 1989. The national president that so-called put me out has been in the club 12 years. So your 12-year ass is going to put my 36-year ass out of the club because you don't like me? And I'm fine with that if I had been voted out. If all those rules that you said I broke, had I gone to trial and my club had said, yeah, man, the evidence is overwhelming against you. You've done these horrible things. I would leave without hesitation. I wrote the bylaws. So I would definitely, and that's why I know what can and can't be done. So it's just unfortunate. And then this is what I'm talking about I was going to talk about club splits today. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, the first club split my club ever saw was because of a violation of the bylaws. They decided to put a guy out bad, and he said, go F yourself, and took half the club with him and started a whole brand new Black Sabbath. And these clubs are not the only ones. This is you can name it. Hell, the Cossacks, Ugly Man Cossacks, and 1%er Cossacks. We're seeing this happen a whole lot. And the question is, should it be? Some of the most major clubs, I can tell you, some of the most major 1% clubs, they split. You don't always see it. They don't always have like a split in the colors. Sometimes there'll be a variation in their colors. You got to know what you're looking for to see it. They don't all put it out. But if you're on the set, you can see what's going on. Bylaws can be amended and changed, and often do, with a motion and a vote. Yes. Capitalism is the word I was looking for. Thank you. Someone or something is trying to destroy the Black Sabbath from within. Well, but every club, and I wrote this back to you in an email. I don't know if I sent it. I think I might have sent it to you today. Big Lock Joker. I wrote this back to you in an email today. I said, every single solitary society devolves. Every society devolves. Every society devolves and is destroyed. Rome lasted 1,000 years and it's gone. Athens, Greece, the Zulus, Timbuktu, Babylon. No city lasts forever. No motorcycle club lasts forever. 53 years is a hell of a long run. And they all have experienced change. Rome lasted, it was run out of Italy for a while, and then it was run out of the Middle East somewhere for a while. Everything changes. The Catholic Church split. Club splits, organization splits, those are normal things. I do want to point out that I did say I waited for good men in the Black Sabbath to do something. It's not like none did. People that stood up for me were immediately suspended, thrown out, told stuff like, you've been removed and you can't run for office for 2 years. All kinds of shit. That's nowhere in a bylaw anywhere. So, there's a recent split in Chicago. It isn't mainstream news, but the OMC's got the memo. Yeah, absolutely. In an organization that's big, there's always going to be an up-and-comer going for control. And that up-and-comer is probably going to be somebody who hasn't accomplished shit, but's got a good mouthpiece and knows how to run it. And they will convince everybody that the people that are running the place have no idea what the hell they're doing. And you have to be good at spotting those people and cutting their ass out early. If you don't, they will get control. Going for control is normal. If it's done with integrity, you can't move with integrity when you're trying to undermine people so that you can make it to the top. And so, yeah, the right reasons. I hear you, Biker News Canada, going for the right reasons, but it's hard to go for the, when you see these people do these incredible things, in order for the organization to stand strong, you have to really do education on the group to educate them as to things to look for that are hot button, red alert symptoms, like, for instance, sidebars. People getting together on group chats and group calls and talking about club brothers and things like that. You have to instill within the organization, you have to instill this idea that nobody talks negative on a brother who's not at the table. And you've got to instill that. You've got to build a strong MC by instilling and supporting and rewarding and punishing and rooting out people who either do follow the tenets of the MC, or getting rid of those who don't. And you have to continually reinforce those ideals. And that's where you got to be a strong president. Anyway, we've been on here for an hour. I wasn't going to do, you guys know we were going to do, so we'll do this tomorrow. Due to no trial shows that they do not have the evidence to back the charges that were claimed as proof. Of course they don't have the evidence. Oh my goodness. At one point they accused me of trying to kill a brother. Where's the evidence of that? At one point, they named a major 1% motorcycle club as being complicit. You think they would have a trial and have those guys show up to have their name included in that bullshit? No, they won't do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that lack of knowledge about brotherhood could be a root cause with a lot of this nonsense. A lot of it comes with the way that we bring members into our clubs these days. I don't know how SNS is doing. He called me yesterday. I tried to talk to him. He was all over the place. And his phone wasn't working well. He said, I'll call you back. And he hasn't called me back yet. So I'll try to call him when I get off the phone today. But it's the way we bring in people. The way we're bringing in people in the clubs nowadays. Well, we want numbers so bad. We don't know who the hell we're bringing in our club. And if you look at the movie, The Bike Riders, I mean, this is what's going on in clubs today. The Bike Riders is the movie you need to look at because it shows you how a club gets broken down and taken over simply by the way it brings people in. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go change the cover on this news story. As we can see it, 10 people have been murdered. 10 people have been murdered in the streets by some attic dweller or mama's basement dweller who's pissed off at the world, has a bone to pick and decides that the only way to do it is by murdering up a bunch of people that have not a damn thing to do with what his problem is. Or it's some sort of terrorist person, probably some lone wolf who wants to score points for ISIL or whatever, lurking on your streets.
And so we'll be looking into that. There was a heavy police presence, state police.
And for you to know, you heard what he said.
And that's apparent by how quickly they responded to neutralize.
There's a heavy police presence. What does that show you? That even with 300 police, 300 extra police and the whole police department on alert and there, sticking up barriers, putting them in place as they go, taking some down with it. Even with all that, the police can't save your ass. The police cannot save you. And a lot of times when this happens, they're running for cover themselves. After they get cover and get secured and get the area so-called secure, then they may go after whom they're looking for. The police are not there to protect you. They're there to preserve order or put order back in place. A lot of times they're just not really capable of helping you. A lot of times they're just not really capable, or they're scared, or whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is, you got to be thinking tactical. You got to be thinking tactical. And that's why I think this is going to be 2025 will be the year that I actually do the Think Tactical podcast and get it up and running. I also have thinktacticalnews.com. I used to do all the time. I think I'll bring that back online. We're at thinktacticalnews.com, and we would talk about all these kinds of stories to think tactical about, help you be tactical. It was going to be a whole thing I put together with I just didn't have time to run this whole thing. But I think we're going to go back and start Think Tactical back up. We had the Think Tactical YouTube channel. Here, let's see, where is it? I think I'm going to bring this back online. I'm going to bring this whole thing back online, Think Tactical, so we can be prepared. Yeah, I have thinktacticalnews.com. I got a Think Tactical podcast as well. Think Tactical. Yeah, so here's my podcast. I built the whole infrastructure. I did a lot of podcasts, well, maybe 10 or 20 of them. So the infrastructure is built. Maybe I can get some of you guys to come on with me on Think Tactical and help me do this thing. Some of my good subscribers that are into prepping and this kind of stuff, into self-defense and think tactically and all that stuff. We did one of the big ones we did a long time ago was this one on bug out bags, where me and several friends got together to look at the the various bug out bags that we had and the things we had in our bug out bags. I'm afraid that my dear friend Robert here on the right passed away from COVID. I miss him so much. And my friend Maya and Petro, we worked together. These guys were engineers at Eris, a company named Eris, and they were. Robert was like a senior manager or something. Bob Coleman and shit, we did this 5 years ago. Has this thing been around 5 years? Holy moly! So maybe this is the time we'll do that. Maybe we'll start back with Think Tactical. I mean, we were doing knives and everything, shooting procedures, all kinds of stuff, man. We were having a blast, but I just didn't have time to do it. I think it might be time to bring that show online. What happened with the newsletter? Papa Penguin, what happened with the newsletter is I had to finish Motorcycle Club Protocol 101, and I had to finish President's Bible Chronicle 2, Betrayal in the Brotherhood, and I had to get them finished before the second week in January. So my publisher dudes were crunching me. So I had to go to my 15-hour a day work weeks, and I had to put the newsletter on pause for a couple of weeks. But we're back on now in the new year. That's what happened to the newsletter. I'm sorry I did not communicate that. Concrete barriers blocking off every entry into Main Street was basic. This was avoidable and the fault of those that are supposed to protect the people. But they can't, Moji, they can't think of everything. Nobody's, that you should be, but nobody's thinking, nobody's thinking about all the ways some son of a bitch is going to drive around a barrier until after they do it. And it's just kind of like making software, like you're making, like you're doing security for software. You don't know that such and such is vulnerable until somebody exploits the hole, and then you go back and patch it. You're working it, but you got people working 24/7 trying to figure out a way around. And then how many freedoms are you willing to give up? Black Dragon screwed for catching a membership error and doing its best to correct that error via removal of said individual that hit his past convictions. I did get screwed for that, and that was because that guy was friends with the group that was trying to take over the club. So they'll forgive you for acts like that if you're helping them move forward their political agenda. The people responsible for security may have been incompetent, but the fault is squarely on the shoulders of the turd who conducted the attack. I agree. It's been a tough few years for Black Dragon, but hey, listen, man, I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. Like, if you're going to be a national president, bro, it ain't easy. I'm not like some national presidents. Like, for instance, the national president of the Ugly Man Concepts is fighting for his life not to go to prison forever. So it could be worse. It could be worse, man. A lot of national presidents of some of these motorcycle clubs wind up imprisoned for some. And oh my God, the stuff that just happened with the Hells Angels in Las Vegas is crazy. It has set a precedent that you can be held guilty and be called a criminal gang, even if you don't have any, and your motorcycle club doesn't have any strikes against it. It's done nothing at all. It gets into trouble one time, and they connect you to every other incident that happened, in this case, in the Hells Angels around the world. And now you get a gang enhancement to add 8 to 15 to 20 years on to run right after you get done. So you got a 3-year drug charge. Okay, you go to jail for 3 years, and then 8 to 10 years more because somebody else killed somebody in your club 500 miles away. And just imagine if you're the national president of that thing. So being a national president of a motorcycle club is real. Is real. Big lock. I'm not going to talk about all that. Anyway, that's it. I think my and Goose was part of that. Goose was one of the folks that got screwed up for backing me. What's up, Mike Ball? Mike Ball! Mike Ball, the Wise! Yeah, it's Mike Ball, the Wise on the show. Yep, good to see you, man. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a better day today. And for the families that lost 10 loved ones and 300 people injured and shot at and carried on, and 2 police officers that were shot, we send you our heartfelt condolences, and we pray for you. This is a horrible way for you to have to bring in the new year. City of New Orleans, the motorcycle clubs in New Orleans, and we definitely pray for you guys. Tough way to start out. Anyway, I'm Black Dragon. That's my 2 cents. I'd love to hear your 2 cents in the comment section below. Thank you for my new members. Please continue to support the show. Like, share, and subscribe. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at blackdragon@blacksabbathmc.com. Support the channel, people. We need your support. $ BikerPrez is my Cash App. jbunchii@aol.com is my PayPal. You can also use the super chat. You can find me on Twitter. Please go over to Twitter and support me, man. That's where you get the unabridged me. I can say whatever I want over there, just like everybody else. At jbunchii on Twitter. jbunchii. You can get me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Those are all the places where you can get Black Dragon Biker TV. We are no longer doing a live podcast on Spreaker. They cut that service. So now our podcast happens about 10 minutes after the show. Every day. You'll be able to still get the podcast. It just won't be live. BlackDragonsGear.com is where all my gear is. The Dragons Lair Motorcycle Chaos can be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes, but it's no longer live until I find a new live carrier. Black Dragons Bike Night is at the Dragons Lair, 3393 Lawrenceville Highway, Tucker, Georgia, 30084. Building 2 down the hill behind the furniture store across from Public Storage. It is hard for you to find it using your navigation system. So I'm telling you, it's Building 2 down the hill behind the furniture store across from the Public Storage. One way in, one way out. Be on your best behavior. Hit me up at clarity.fm/black-dragon if you need to talk to me about personal or club matters. Lavish T. Williams can be found on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, info@lavishtwilliams.com. You can find Mike Ball the Wise on Instagram under Ball Valve TV. Mike Ball doesn't answer you if you don't hit him up on Instagram. So, Instagram he calls the human resume. And I think he might be right. Hey, we just reached 21,800 on Instagram. So thank you. 21,800 on Instagram. So anyway, Mikey, you doing a show today? They want to know if you're doing a show today, Mike. I don't know if Mike's still with us. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Love to hear your 2 cents in the comment section below. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, we are. Thanks for tuning in and get skinny. Yes, we are, Goose. I see you in the comments. Yes, we are. All right. Let me find the right button to get out of here. Where is it? Right here. Boom. Prepare yourself to take the helm as president of your mighty motorcycle club by delving into the pages of Black Dragon's newest book, The President's Bible, Chronicle 1, Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. There you will learn to advance your skills in applying the 14 scientific principles of leadership similar to those taught to officers in the United States Naval Service. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Get yours today on Amazon, Kindle, or order it at your local bookstore. Order your autographed copy from blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club president you can be. Get the book.
Get Black Dragon's first book, The Prospect's Bible, to learn how to join a motorcycle club. It has been an Amazon #1 bestseller for the past 7 years and is required reading for over 3,000 motorcycle clubs worldwide. This book is a must-have for new people venturing onto the motorcycle club set. It will teach you how to prepare yourself for service to the motorcycle club nation and show you how to qualify a motorcycle club to be worthy of your service. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and for order at your local bookstore. Get your autographed copy at blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club prospect you can be. Get the book.
If you are seeking clarity about issues stemming from problems or crises occurring within your motorcycle club, then set up a consultation with Black Dragon. Black Dragon has over 30 years of experience in the motorcycle club world, having served as a national president of the 50-year-old Black Sabbath MC Nation for nearly 10 years. Black Dragon is a veteran negotiator, skilled in crisis management, conflict resolution, inter-club issues, press conferences, and club reputation management. You can set up an appointment to speak with him by phone at clarity.fm/black-dragon. Get the clarity you deserve to help make your MC the best place it can possibly be.
It's definitely a big issue for you too. But I'm going to talk about the 99s for a minute. What's up, Mama Roll? I'm going to talk about the 99s for a minute and what our responsibilities are and what we need to think about. Because if you don't really know what's going on the set, you can find yourself in kind of a precarious predicament if you make the wrong kind of moves or do the wrong kind of things when this kind of stuff goes on. So, when most percenters get into a war with one another, what should 99%ers do? Here's the same things you should know. Thing number one, stay in your lane. Find a corner and put your motorcycle club in it. If you're a president, you want to find a corner and put your motorcycle club in it. What I mean is, the set can be volatile. It can be very dangerous. And when you have that kind of thing going on, this set's not safe. So, as a 99%er motorcycle club, what you want to find is yourself in your business, in your lane, while all of the fancy stuff gets handled on other levels.
Yeah, you heard that, didn't you? On other levels. Tried to tell you suckers, Black Dragon is the man. The Black Dragon is the man. A real OG. Bonafide, certified, a true MC. The Biker Boys. The Biker Boys. It's in the house, so most definitely blow the whistle for Black Dragon, Biker TV. That's right, I said Biker TV. See, one day, young Dragon made his way out the Navy to become a prospect. Some people thought he was crazy, but 5 years later, hard work became a habit. He became the president of the mighty Black Savage Nation. MCs, y'all, respectfully. Black Dragon. Black Savage. MC. That's right, y'all. Give it a thumbs up. Black Dragon Biker TV at his best. Oh yeah, and don't forget to get his prospect Bible book. So proud of him. Man, he just don't know. He's a real legend. And y'all know it, and I know it. That's right, Black Dragon. That's right. Glad I met you, my friend. Black Dragon. I'm the Midnight Ghost Rider. Dub V, y'all. Love you, Black Dragon. Peace. And get skinny. Like and share. Goodbye.